before we let you go, let's just talk a little bit about resisting Trump. I think that even some liberals, right, who may not are maybe MSNBC watchers or folks who don't engage in a more activist approach to politics, I think they're actually kind of starting to get really pissed off at the insane just ineptitude and lack of urgency shown by many Democrats, and we're starting to see a little bit of a shift. Can you pull up this quote from Brian Schatz? So Schatz, he was unsuccessful because they don't have the numbers. Like, these are the practical realities. But at the very least, he did an old school overnight filibuster to protest the nomination of Russell Vought to OMB, the Project 2025 architect. And he adds some great quotes here, which is like, it's finally, I feel like this, Chris Murphy's acting like he gets it. Schatz gets it more. This is what he had to say to Isaac Chater, who's just what'd you say? Chotiner. This may be the one time Chotner's interviewed somebody and the person has come out looking better on the other side. Like, he's done some incredible interviews with Israeli settlers and other things. But here's his quote about like the Democrats. He's talking about can you go up a little? Yeah. When he's talking just basically about how just scroll down. The Democrats should not listen to like the pundit class. He starts to name names. He says, what are you talking about with some pundit? Who are you referring to? Oh, David Axelrod, James Carville. I mean, those guys have not been in the trenches legislatively or electorally in a full generation. There's a cottage industry out there of Democratic strategists. But in order to be a Democratic strategist, you actually have to do politics currently and not just podcasts about it. And then Isaac says you're referring to them criticizing what you've done around USAID by saying foreign aid is not good territory for Democrats to fight in. No, where's the second quote that I sent? Sorry. The part about the Foreign Assistance Act, the pundit brain. Yeah. Okay. So this is really the money quote that I was referring to. The Foreign Assistance Act, and then, of course, every appropriation bill that funds the State Department and Foreign Ops budget, they're ignoring multiple federal laws. And excuse me for being quaint about this, but I'm not going to just gloss over that and wait until they touch the Affordable Care Act. That's the kind of pundit brain, poll-tested bullshit that got us into this mess. Right. We are constantly being told that something isn't polling well enough. And one of the things that Republicans do well is not allow their pollsters to tell them everything. They invent whole stories and then polling follows. And that's why we're focused so much on Russell Vought, Trump's OMB director. He's clearly not a household name, blah, blah, blah. But that part where Republicans don't lead with polling, they act to change the national conversation. Right. Immigration, they've completely changed the scope of it within like the past 10 years. Yes. Like the Democrats have agency over public opinion and when things become popular by using the bully pulpit to advocate for things. And I guess I'm just curious, Ben, if you could respond to Iglesias, and even the Biden administration adopted this for a while, this notion of popularism, which they conflate with populism, but that we should just do things that are popular. Okay.
Yeah. Except Israel.
But by definition, right, except Israel. But by definition, that means minority rights are on the chopping block, because if you only do what's popular, you can't stand up for minority, that's in the definition, rights.
Right. Especially when you have an quote unquote opposition. And I use that almost rhetorically. Right. They're more like controlled opposition. When you have controlled opposition that is not willing to put in the dollars into media or into the right type of consultants that can actually get this done and know how to do this, then you have an existential problem in democracy, because we have Democratic consultants. The entire Democratic consultant class are super rich consultants with email databases and bad practices. Period. That's who they are. That's what they are. They still get paid no matter what. Kamala lost, but somebody got a yacht out of how much money they took from the collective body politic of Democrats. What does that mean? That means that we need to oppose a Democratic consulting class as it is right now. We need to oppose them as much as we oppose MAGA, because they're in the way of politicians actually doing something smart and intelligent for a change.
And And the media is frankly reacting in many ways to this as well. Like, that's why I prefer what Schatz is doing to what Chris Murphy is doing, where he's conceded completely on immigration. Trump's not being, he's lying about his tough on the border stuff. Or could we make a positive case for, we are a nation of immigrants. It makes our country better. They're trying to get you to blame immigrants, and we're saying it's the billionaire class. Then you can change public opinion on this issue instead of just throwing your hands up and saying, well, Trump's going to make things bad enough so that public opinion turns our way again. That's not how you need to. That's not doing politics.
That is asking for us. That is leading us to the slaughter, right? This is so important right now. We can't even really waste time with the Democratic Party or the Democratic consultants. Let them figure it out as they go. I think the people really need to take matters into their own hands in terms of what is public opinion. What are we talking about? What is the national discourse? We have the ability to change that from the bottom up. We've seen it. Each of us have done it in independent media with viral videos throughout the years. Each of us have that kind of impact, because if we wait for these Democrats and these Democratic consultants to figure out how to fight MAGA, we'll all be lined up on the wall asking if this is your first time here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a really important point. There's a quote from Jane McAlevey I've read out a couple times here from a issue of Catalyst in 2018. Here's just part of it. In the U.S., the small margin strategy on the part of Democrats is what put Trump into office. This is, again, 2018. Idiotic and calamitous assumptions that Democrats only need to turn out 1 or 2% more to take this state or that congressional seat are spewed by Silicon Valley data wizards whose allegiance is to the new elite, not the working class. Small margins, gerrymandering, and all forms of voter suppression can best be defeated by learning how to build supermajorities in difficult conditions. And I also want to point to something going on in the New York Times, which is a guest essay. I think I got timed out from my New York Times thing, but it's a full column by, this is how Democrats can counter Elon Musk. And there's a section of it. Yeah, here it is. Democrats must take care at this moment not to confuse tactics with goals. They shouldn't define themselves simply as Mr. Musk's operational opposite, leaving themselves defenders of a broken status quo. Their goal must be a muscular, lean, effective administrative state that works for Americans. This woman was married to a guy named Tim O'Reilly, who is basically responsible for turning the internet into a commercial free-for-all as opposed to a free software, more utopian thing. There's a great essay in the BAFTA called The Meme Hustler for tech folks who want to see how this is. So this is somebody coming from supposedly an Obama perspective, but really she's one of these tech people who agrees, like Jeff Bezos, this is not just a Musk problem. This is a capitalist problem, and that means it's a bipartisan problem. And these people will, if they have their way, will tell all of us that we're overreacting. That actually we do need to go along with a lot of cost savings for ideological reasons, and they are wrong.
They are wrong.
Entirely, completely.
Yeah. Ben, I guess lastly, I mean, what do you see your role is in opposing Trump here as a member of the press? Because that's Morning Joe and all of them bending the knee. I wonder if they regret that now, because they really underestimate Trump. Barely won the popular vote, and they acted like this was Reagan's, sweep the second time around. I mean, they just rolled over completely. And it was the party, but also members of the media and online media is not exempt from this. Yeah. I'm trying to find a way to bring more creators and folks together to give people a place to at least have catharsis and at best have a path forward to organize, as you talk about. But if you could just expand on this environment that we're in right now. I mean, I know you and I have both kind of had private conversations about this, but. Yeah,
no, I'm just thinking, my genuine answer from the bottom of my heart is that if I had as many YouTube subscribers as TYT, if I had 6 million TYT subscribers, if I had the hundreds of thousands of members that organizations like that have, if I had the pull and reach of MSNBC, I would be mobilizing the masses. Every single listener every single subscriber, every single commenter, every person in the chat room, you are important right now. And if we had 6,000 people, Emma, if we just had 6,000 people go with a singular message on social media, that would move the dial. If we went with 600,000, that would certainly change the national discourse. But if we went with 6 million people that we have groomed and used over the last 20 years in order to become the biggest media platform in progressive circles, it is a bona fide movement that could stand in the face of MAGA right now. But we don't have that. And so we're going to need every single show, Majority Report, all the way down to my little show. We need all of our supporters to get out there and do it ourselves, change the discourse. No MAGA buyout. Hold the line. Do not resign. Tell every federal employee you know. Share it on every one of your social media platforms. Text it to every single one of your text groups. Don't stop talking about it over this weekend in particular, because we are all that we have. We have to save ourselves, Emma.
Yeah, it really is a shame. You know, we got to do what we can with our platform, but we're just so outnumbered on the right in terms of finances and resources. And I think a lot of us in this particular kind of independent media space, we're scrambling to come together because we have a fraction of their resources and of honestly, like their ability to pump Daily Wire to the top of the algorithm or whatever. It's just like not possible. So in terms of TYT, it's a shame. I
don't mean to interrupt you, but Majority Report, you all are critical. One of the most impactful and influential. And even though, you know, you all and none of us really have those numbers, what we have counts. And so thank you and Sam and the whole team there, Matt, all of you guys for standing on the wall like this.
Appreciate you, Ben. Everybody check out the Benjamin Dixon Show over on YouTube. We'll put a link to that below. Good to talk to you.
Pleasure's mine. Take care.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.